The text message from my mother lit up my phone screen. Vanessa's graduation celebration tour of Europe. $12,000. Your share would be $6,000. Sending payment details. I stared at those words until they burned into my retinas, my coffee going cold beside my laptop. Of course they'd expect me to pay for half, just like I'd paid for everything else in my sister's gilded life. My name is Athena, and I've spent the last decade being my family's ATM, ghostwriter and emotional punching bag, all while watching my younger sister Vanessa collect accolades for work I silently produced. "You can't keep enabling this," Gillian said, sliding into the seat across from me at our usual cafe spot. I showed her the message and she nearly choked on her latte. $6,000 for what? Instagram photos of her posing in front of the Eiffel Tower. Don't forget the candid shots of her working on her laptop in cute European cafes, I replied, my voice dripping with sarcasm. Got to maintain that digital nomad creative director image. "The one you built for her," Gillian reminded me, her eyes narrowing, along with her entire portfolio, thesis, and that award-winning campaign that got her the job. My phone buzzed again. "Mum, Vanessa's so excited. She really deserves this after all her hard work." I felt something snap inside me, the kind of snap that comes after years of bending until you're practically folded in half. "Speaking of hard work," I muttered, pulling up my encrypted folder. "Want to see what my sister's Rising Talent Award actually looks like?" I turned my laptop around, showing Gillian the original files of the campaign that had launched Vanessa's career. My watermarks, my drafts, my concepts, all carefully documented and dated. "Jesus, Athena," Gillian whispered, scrolling through. This is everything. Why did you keep all this?" "Because I knew this day would come." I took a sip of my now cold coffee. The day they'd pushed too far. My phone rang. Vanessa's face lit up the screen. "There's my successful sister." Vanessa's voice dripped honey when I answered. "Did you get Mom's message? I was thinking we could do Paris, Rome, maybe Barcelona." "Actually," I cut in, "I can't afford it right now." The silence on the other end was deafening. Then came the familiar guilt trip. "But you make so much more than me," Vanessa whined, "and this is a once-in-a-lifetime celebration. Don't you want to support my success?" I caught Gillian's eye across the table. She made a throat-cutting gesture. "Your success," the words came out before I could stop them. "You mean my success?" "What's that supposed to mean?" Vanessa's voice turned sharp. "Nothing. I have to go. I'll see you at Mum's for dinner tonight." I hung up, my hands shaking. Gillian reached across and squeezed my arm. "You're going to tell them, aren't you?" "No," I said, pulling up my email. "I'm going to show them." That evening I sat at my mother's dining table, watching Vanessa hold court. She was telling the story of her latest project, my latest project, while Mom beamed with pride. "The client absolutely loved the concept," Vanessa gushed. "They said they'd never seen anything like it." "Of course they hadn't," I muttered into my wine glass. "What was that, dear?" Mom asked, her smile never wavering. I said, "Of course they hadn't." I set down my glass. "Because it was original. I would know. I created it." The silence that fell over the table was absolute. Vanessa's fork clattered against her plate. "Athena," Mum's voice held a warning note, "don't be jealous of your sister's success. It's not attractive." "Jealous?" I laughed, and the sound was hollow. "Of what? My own work?" Vanessa's face had gone pale. "You're just bitter because you're alone and I'm actually doing something with my life." That was it, the final straw. I stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. "You want to talk about doing something with your life?" I grabbed my bag. "Fine, let's talk about how you really got your job. Let's talk about every single project you've ever claimed as yours. Let's talk about that thesis that got you your degree." "Athena!" Mom stood to, her face flushed. "Stop this right now." "No, Mom. I'm done stopping. I'm done being the family ATM. I'm done being the ghost behind Vanessa's success. I headed for the door, then turned back one last time, and I'm definitely not paying for that Europe trip. As I walked out, I heard Vanessa's shrill voice. She's lying! She's just jealous! Mum, tell her to come back! But I was already gone, my phone buzzing with their calls and messages. Tomorrow they'd learn exactly what jealousy looked like. Tomorrow I'd show them the truth, and for the first time in years, I smiled. Back at my apartment, I pulled out my external hard drive, the one I'd labelled insurance. 5 years of receipts, transfers, emails and project files. Every piece of evidence I'd carefully archived, knowing this day might come. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. 15 missed calls from Mum. 23 text messages from Vanessa. Vanessa, whatever you're planning, don't you dare. Vanessa, you're just trying to ruin my life because yours is so pathetic. Mum, call me immediately. We need to discuss your behaviour. I turned my phone off and opened my laptop. The first file was from 3 years ago, Vanessa's final thesis project that landed her the job at Jackson's agency. You're really doing this? Gillian's voice came through my speakerphone. Watch your email, I replied, sending her the file. Tell me what you see. A moment of silence, then a low whistle. Holy shit, Athena. The track changes are still there. Your comments, your revisions, you basically wrote the whole thing. Not basically, I did write it, all 87 pages. I pulled up the bank statements, and she paid me exactly $0 for it while I was paying off her student loans. What about that campaign last year, the one that won her the Rising Talent Award? I clicked through more folders. Sending now. Check the metadata on the design files. These timestamps, these are from your old laptop, your old software license. Yep. I popped open a beer. Want to know the best part? She signed an integrity statement at work, claiming all her submissions were original work. That's fraud, Athena. I know. I took a long sip. That's the point. My doorbell rang. I checked the peephole to see my mother standing there, arms crossed. Don't open it, Gillian warned. I have to, I sighed. I'll call you back. I opened the door and Mom burst in, her face red with anger. What do you think you're doing? She demanded. Vanessa is in tears. Showing proof of plagiarism tends to upset people, I replied, walking back to my laptop. This is ridiculous. You helped your sister because you wanted to. Nobody forced you. I spun around. Helped her? Is that what we're calling it now? Here, let me show you what helping looks like. I pulled up my banking app and started scrolling through transfers. $20,000 for her final year of college, $8,000 for her apartment deposit, $12,000 for her work wardrobe, $5,000 for her portfolio website. I looked up at Mom. Should I continue? She's your sister. Family helps family. Really? When was the last time anyone helped me? Mom's face softened into that manipulative expression I knew too well. Sweetie, you're the strong one. You don't need help. No, I said quietly. I was just the convenient one. My phone started ringing again. Vanessa. Answer it, Mom demanded. Fix this mess you're creating. I put the phone on speaker. Hello, Vanessa. Jackson just called me into a meeting tomorrow morning. Vanessa's voice was shrill. What did you do? Nothing yet. I glanced at my laptop, but I have some interesting files I could send him. You wouldn't dare. I'll tell everyone about Caden. Mom looked confused. What about Caden? My laugh was bitter. Go ahead, Vanessa. Tell Mom how you convinced my ex-boyfriend I was cheating on him. Tell her how you showed him doctored screenshots of conversations that never happened. Mum's face went pale. Vanessa, is this true? She's lying! Vanessa screamed through the phone. She's always been jealous of me. She's trying to destroy everything I've built. Everything you've built? I opened my email. Let's see what Jackson thinks about who really built your career. Wait! Vanessa's voice cracked. Please don't. I'll do anything. Too late. I hit send on the email I'd prepared. Check your inbox, Vanessa. I've CC'd you on everything I just sent to Jackson. Every file, every receipt, every NDA you violated. The phone went silent. What have you done? Mom whispered. What I should have done years ago. I walked to my door and held it open. Now get out. This isn't over, Mom warned as she left. You're right, I called after her. It's just beginning. I closed the door and leaned against it, my heart pounding. My phone buzzed with a new message from Jackson. Just reviewed your email. Need to meet first thing tomorrow. This is serious. I smiled and typed back, I know, that's why I sent it. Another message from Vanessa popped up. I hate you. You've ruined everything. No, I whispered to myself, closing my laptop. You did that all on your own. I just kept the receipts. The next morning I walked into Jackson's office carrying a leather portfolio filled with even more evidence. His assistant gave me a curious look as she led me in. Jackson stood behind his desk, his expression unreadable. Please sit. I'd only met him once before, at an agency party where Vanessa had practically shoved me away to monopolize his attention. Now he was studying me with intense focus. I spent most of the night going through your files, he said, gesturing to his dual monitors. I have to admit, this is unprecedented. I have more, I said, opening my portfolio. More? He raised an eyebrow. The evidence you sent is already damning enough. You've seen the final products. I brought the drafts, the revision histories, the original concept sketches. I spread them across his desk. Everything dated and documented. He picked up a sketch from the award-winning campaign. This is your handwriting. Yes, and here's the email where Vanessa asked me to recreate it in her style. I pulled up the message on my phone. She was very specific about making it look authentically her. Jackson sat heavily in his chair. Do you realize this compromises every project she's touched? We've built entire client relationships on her supposed expertise. I know. I met his gaze. That's why I'm here. Your clients deserve to know who really did their work. His phone buzzed. He glanced at it and grimaced. Your sister is in the lobby with your mother. Of course they are. I started gathering my materials. I should go. No, Jackson pressed his intercom. Sarah, please send them up and call HR. Minutes later, Vanessa burst in, Mum right behind her. They froze when they saw me. You! Vanessa's mascara was smeared. How dare you come here? Miss Benson, Jackson's voice was ice. Sit down. Jackson, I can explain everything, Vanessa pleaded, trying to smile. She's just jealous. She's trying to hurt me because... Because what? I interrupted. Because I finally got tired of you taking credit for my work. Because I stopped bankrolling your fake success. That's enough, Mom snapped. Jackson, surely we can work this out. Vanessa is your star employee. No, Jackson said quietly. Apparently she's not. He turned his monitor around, showing one of my original files. This is fraud, Vanessa. You signed contracts stating all work was your own. It was just a little help. Vanessa's voice rose hysterically. Sisters help each other. Help? I pulled out my phone. Let's talk about the contract you signed last month with Premier Brands. The one where you used my name and portfolio without my knowledge. Mom's head snapped toward Vanessa. You did what? I had to. Vanessa was crying now. They wanted someone more experienced. I knew you'd help me like you always do. That's a criminal offence, Jackson said, standing. Identity theft, fraud. No, no, no! Vanessa collapsed into a chair. You don't understand. I needed to prove myself. By stealing my identity, I laughed bitterly. By taking credit for my work. By destroying my relationship with Caden. Caden was wrong for you anyway, Vanessa shot back. Mom stepped between us. Athena, stop this right now. We can figure this out as a family. There is no figuring this out, Jackson interrupted. HR is on their way. This is now a legal matter. Legal? Mom went pale. No, you can't do this to her career. Her career? I stood up. You mean my career, my work, my talent. She just wore it like a costume. The door opened and 2 HR representatives walked in. Vanessa started sobbing. Please, she begged, please don't do this. I picked up my portfolio and walked to the door, then turned back. You know what's funny? If you'd just done your own work, built your own career, I would have supported you, actually supported you, not carried you. Miss Benson, one of the HR reps addressed Vanessa, we need to discuss the termination of your employment and potential legal actions. Mom grabbed my arm as I passed. You're destroying your sister's life. I pulled free. No, Mom, I'm reclaiming mine. In the elevator, my phone buzzed with a text from Jackson. We should talk about your work. The real you, not your sister's version. I smiled as another message came through from Premier Brands. We're aware of the situation with Vanessa Benson. We'd like to speak with the real Athena about taking over the contract. The elevator doors opened to the lobby and I walked out into the sunlight. Behind me, I could hear Vanessa's wails echoing through the building's atrium. But for the first time in years, the sound didn't make me flinch. I was done being the ghost in my own life. The news spread through the industry like wildfire. By evening, my LinkedIn was flooded with connection requests and my inbox was overflowing with messages from curious colleagues and potential clients. You're trending on Twitter, Gillian announced, sliding her phone across my kitchen counter. All agency fraud is taking off. I glanced at the screen. Someone had leaked details of Vanessa's termination, and the marketing world was buzzing with speculation. Have you seen this? Gillian pulled up an industry blog post. The headline read, Rising Star Falls, Major Agency Terminates Award Winner Over Fraud Allegations. My phone rang. Unknown number. Athena speaking. Hey, it's Caden. My heart stopped. 3 years of silence and now this. I saw the news, he said. About Vanessa. About everything. Caden, why didn't you tell me? His voice cracked. About the fake messages, the lies. Why didn't you fight back? Would you have believed me? I kept my voice steady. Over your messages with her, over the screenshots. Silence. No, he finally admitted. I wouldn't have, I'm sorry. The doorbell rang. Gillian checked the peephole and mouthed Jackson. I have to go, I told Caden. Someone's here. Can we meet? Talk about everything? Maybe. I'll think about it. I opened the door to find Jackson looking surprisingly casual in jeans and a button-down. Sorry to drop by, he said, holding up a bottle of wine, but we need to talk damage control. 20 minutes later, we sat around my kitchen island, wine poured, laptops open. The press is having a field day, Jackson said, scrolling through articles. But here's the thing, they're missing the bigger story. Which is? Gillian asked. Her. He pointed at me. The ghost behind the throne, the real talent. My phone buzzed again. Vanessa's face appeared on screen. Put it on speaker, Gillian urged. Let's hear what she has to say. I answered. What do you want? You bitch, Vanessa was screaming. I just got called by Industry Weekly for comment. They're writing an expose. Calm as a bitch, Gillian muttered. Is that Gillian? Vanessa's voice turned sickly sweet. Did you tell her how you tried to steal her boyfriend in college? How you... Stop, Jackson's voice cut through the speaker. That's enough, Vanessa. Jackson, she gasped. What are you doing there? Discussing your replacement, and by the way, we're pursuing legal action for the contract violations. You can't do this to me, she was crying again. Athena, please, tell them to stop. Like you stopped when Caden asked you if the screenshots were real, I countered. Like you stopped when Mom asked where my bonus money went last Christmas. Silence. That's what I thought. I ended the call. Jackson leaned forward. About that Premier Brands contract she signed in your name. I already spoke with them, I said. They're drafting a legitimate contract, with me. Good, he smiled, because I want to subcontract you for all her old accounts, officially this time. My phone lit up with a text from Mom. We're having a family meeting tomorrow. Be there at 6 p.m. No excuses. Don't go, Gillian warned. It's a trap. Oh, I'm going. I showed them my screen, and I'm bringing copies of every check I've written for Vanessa since college. Speaking of college, Jackson pulled up a document. Your sister's thesis has been flagged for review. The university's ethics board wants to speak with you. They can have everything. I opened my laptop. Every draft, every revision, every late-night call where she begged me to just fix it. Another text from Mom. Your sister is devastated. How could you be so cruel? Gillian read it over my shoulder and snorted. Cruel? Like making you pay her rent while she bought designer bags. Or like her telling clients I was her paid assistant, I added. Jackson's phone buzzed. He grimaced at the screen. The story's getting bigger. Industry Weekly wants to interview me and you. Do it, Gillian urged. Tell everything. No, I said, an idea forming. Let's do better. Let's show everything. I pulled up my project files. Every piece of work she claimed, every award she won, side by side with my original files, timestamps, intact. That would destroy her completely, Jackson warned. She destroyed herself, I replied. I'm just showing the receipts. My phone buzzed one final time. A message from Caden. I found our old photos, the ones from before Vanessa. I never stopped missing you. I stared at the message, feeling nothing but a dull ache for what could have been. You okay? Gillian asked softly. Yeah, I said, putting my phone away. I'm just ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow? Jackson raised an eyebrow. Family meeting, I smiled, and I'm bringing receipts. I arrived at Mom's house exactly at 6 p.m., carrying a thick manila envelope. Through the window I could see Vanessa pacing in the living room, gesturing wildly as she talked to Mom. Before I could knock, the door swung open. Mom's face was tight with anger. Finally decided to show up to fix your mess. Actually, I held up the envelope. I brought proof it's not my mess at all. The living room fell silent as I walked in. Vanessa's eyes were red and puffy, her designer outfit replaced by sweats. Before you start, I said, sitting down, let's talk numbers. Numbers? Mom scoffed. This isn't about money. Really? I pulled out a stack of papers. Then let's talk about the $87,000 I've given Vanessa over the past 5 years. Given? Vanessa jumped up. You offered to help. Did I? I spread bank statements across the coffee table, like when you borrowed my credit card for your work wardrobe, or when you forged my signature for that car lease. Mum's face paled. You did what? Oh, she didn't tell you? I pulled out more documents. Show her the lease, Vanessa. Show her whose name is on it. Vanessa collapsed back onto the couch. I needed reliable transportation for work. Work? I laughed. You mean the job you got using my portfolio? The one you just lost? That's enough, Mum slammed her hand on the table. We're here to fix this. Fix what? I stood up. The fact that your precious golden child is a fraud, that she built her entire career on my work. I earned that job, Vanessa screamed. Really? I pulled out my phone. Should I play the voice memo from last Christmas, the one where you begged me to help with the Premier campaign because you were too busy shopping? The doorbell rang. Mum went to answer it, probably expecting reinforcements. Instead, Caden walked in. What are you doing here? Vanessa's voice shook. Showing support, he said, moving to stand beside me, for the woman whose life you tried to ruin. I didn't, Vanessa started. Save it. Caden cut her off. I found the original messages, the ones you edited to make it look like Athena was cheating. Mom sank into her chair. Vanessa, tell me you didn't. She did. I pulled out one final document. And here's the proof. The metadata from the doctored screenshots showing they were edited on her computer. You're just jealous, Vanessa shrieked. You've always been jealous because I'm prettier, more successful. Successful? Caden interrupted. You mean successful at stealing your sister's work? At destroying her relationships? Get out! Vanessa pointed at him. "This is family business." "Family?" I stepped closer to her. "Like family is supposed to support each other? Like you supported me by taking credit for my work? By destroying my relationship? By draining my bank account?" "I deserved it," Vanessa screamed. "You had everything. The talent, the brains. It wasn't fair." The room fell silent. "Say that again," I said quietly. "What?" "Say again how I had the talent, how I had the brains. Admit that you always knew, that everything you claimed as yours was actually mine." Vanessa's face crumpled. I just wanted to be special," I finished. "To be the star. Well, congratulations. You're about to be very special indeed. The industry's first major plagiarism scandal in years." Mum started crying. "Please, Athena, we can keep this private. Handle it as a family. Like you handled it when Vanessa stole my bonus, or when she took credit for my designs, or when she destroyed my relationship." "I'm sorry," Vanessa wailed. "Is that what you want to hear? I'm sorry." "Sorry you did it, or sorry you got caught?" Caden asked. My phone buzzed. A text from Jackson. "Industry Weekly article goes live tomorrow morning. Last chance to comment." I showed the message to Vanessa. Her face went white. "Please," she whispered, "don't let them publish it. I'll do anything." "Anything?" I typed a response to Jackson. "Like admit the truth? Return every award? Pay back every dollar?" Yes, anything." I hit send on my message. "Run it. Full disclosure." "What did you do?" Mom asked, seeing Vanessa's face. "What should have been done years ago," I replied, gathering my documents. "I'm letting the truth speak for itself." As I walked to the door, Caden following, I turned back one last time. "By the way, Vanessa, the Premier Brands contract you forged my name on, they're hiring me, the real me. Funny how karma works." The last thing I heard as the door closed was Vanessa's sob and Mum's quiet. "What have you done?" But for the first time in years, I didn't feel guilty at all. The Industry Weekly article dropped at 6 a.m. sharp. By 6:05, my phone was exploding. Ghost in the machine. "The real story behind marketing's rising star," Gillian read from her tablet as we sat in my kitchen. "They didn't hold back, did they?" My email pinged with another interview request, this time from Forbes. "You've got to read these comments." Gillian scrolled through the article. "I knew something was off when her work style completely changed between projects. This explains why she couldn't answer basic questions about her own campaigns." A text from Jackson. "Office is chaos. Legal team in emergency meetings. You might want to lay low today." Another from Mum. "Vanessa's being hospitalised for anxiety. I hope you're happy." "Hospitalised?" Gillian snorted. "More like hiding from the fallout." My doorbell rang. Through the peephole I saw Caden. "Hey," he said when I opened the door. "Thought you might need moral support today." "Or a witness in case Vanessa shows up with a knife," Gillian muttered. My phone rang. Premier Brands. "Athena speaking." "We've reviewed the situation," their legal director said. "We'd like to meet, today if possible, and bring your portfolio, your real portfolio." I glanced at the time. "I can be there in an hour." "Perfect. Oh, and Athena, we're very interested in discussing that campaign concept your sister rejected on our behalf last month." I hung up and turned to find Caden reading the article on his phone. "They interviewed your old professor," he said, "the one from your thesis year." "What?" I grabbed his phone. There it was, a quote from Professor Martinez. "I always wondered why Vanessa's work seemed so similar to her sister's. Now we know it was her sister's." "The university's launching an investigation," Gillian added, reading from her laptop. "They're reviewing her degree." My phone buzzed again, an unknown number. "Hello? Is this Athena?" A woman's voice. "This is Rachel from the Marketing Standard. We're doing a feature on industry accountability and..." A text interrupted her. "You vindictive bitch! They're revoking my degree. Mom's having a breakdown. I hope you're satisfied." "I have to go," I told Rachel. "Send me an email." Caden read the text over my shoulder. "She's still making it about her." "Always has," I replied, just as another message came through, from Jackson. "Can you come in? Legal needs to discuss something urgent." An hour later, I sat in Jackson's office while his legal team explained the situation. "Multiple clients are threatening lawsuits," the head lawyer said. "They paid for original work, not plagiarized content." "But here's the opportunity," Jackson leaned forward. "They're willing to drop the suits if you take over the accounts. Directly, they want the real artist, not the front. And Vanessa? Facing potential criminal charges for the identity theft and contract fraud." He slid a document across the desk. Unless what? "Unless you're willing to sign an agreement. You take the accounts, she admits everything publicly, pays restitution, and we don't press charges." My phone lit up with another text from Mom. "Please call me. We need to fix this." "There's nothing to fix," I muttered, then looked at Jackson. "Send the agreement to her, but I want full creative control of all accounts." "Done," he smiled. "Welcome aboard. Officially this time." Back in the lobby, I found Caden waiting. "Everything okay?" he asked. "Getting there." I checked my phone. 17 missed calls from Mom, 32 texts from Vanessa. "Want to grab coffee? Like old times?" "No," I said firmly. "Not like old times, new times, better times." At the coffee shop, Gillian joined us, bringing news from social media. "Vanessa's posted a statement," she said, pulling it up. "In light of recent revelations, I need to admit to some serious mistakes." "Mistakes?" Caden scoffed. "That's what she's calling years of fraud." My phone rang again. "Mom." "You should answer it," Gillian said. "End this once and for all." I took a deep breath and picked up. "Athena, please," Mom was crying. "She's agreed to everything. She'll admit it all, pay you back. Just drop the charges." "Already done," I said. "Check her email. Jackson sent over an agreement." Then it's over? The legal part? Yes. The family part?" I looked at Caden, then Gillian. "That ended a long time ago, Mom. You just never noticed." I hung up as another email came through, from Industry Weekly. "Follow-up piece?" Gillian asked. "No," I smiled, reading the subject line. "They want me to write a column about being your own advocate in the industry." "Perfect title," Caden said. "How to stop being a ghost." "No," I replied, already typing my response. "How about taking back your story?" Because finally, after all these years, that's exactly what I'd done. 3 months later, I sat in the Premier Brands conference room, presenting my latest campaign. My campaign, my name on every slide. "Brilliant work, Athena," their CEO said as I finished. "This is exactly why we wanted you, the real you." My phone buzzed with a news alert. I checked it after the meeting. Former Rising Star marketing executive files for bankruptcy following industry scandal. "Saw the news?" Jackson asked, falling into step beside me as I left the building. "Just now. Bankruptcy? Legal fees, restitution payments, student loan fraud investigation." He shrugged. "Your sister's house of cards finally collapsed." My phone rang. Mom's weekly guilt trip right on schedule. "Aren't you going to answer that?" Jackson asked. "No need." I declined the call. I already know what she'll say. Vanessa's struggling. Vanessa's depressed. Vanessa needs help with her legal bills. "And what about what you needed? All those years?" Before I could answer, Gillian's text popped up. "Turn on industry news now." I pulled up the live stream on my phone. There was Vanessa, sitting for her first interview since the scandal broke. "I want to apologize," she was saying, makeup perfect despite her tears. "To my sister, to my clients, to everyone I deceived." "Turn it off," Jackson said gently. "You don't need to watch this." But I couldn't look away as Vanessa continued. "I was jealous of my sister's talent. I wanted what she had, but I didn't want to work for it. So I took it. I stole her work, her ideas, even her identity. My phone buzzed again. Caden. Are you watching this? Everyone is, I texted back. The worst part, Vanessa was saying on screen, was destroying her relationship. I sabotaged her happiness because I couldn't stand seeing her succeed in any part of life. Jackson touched my arm. Drinks? You look like you need one. At the bar, Gillian and Caden were waiting. Well, that was quite a performance, Gillian said, sliding me a martini. Complete with professional lighting and camera angles, I agreed. Wonder how she afforded that production value while filing for bankruptcy. Mom probably mortgaged her house again, Caden said. Speaking of which, he nodded toward the door. Mom had just walked in. Athena, she called out, heading straight for our table. We need to talk. No, I said firmly. We don't. I saw Vanessa's interview. She apologized. She admitted everything. What more do you want? Nothing. I turned to face her fully. I don't want anything from either of you anymore. But she's your sister. Is she? I pulled out my phone, showing Mom my banking app. Because sisters don't steal hundreds of thousands of dollars from each other. Sisters don't destroy relationships. Sisters don't commit identity theft. She's getting help, therapy, counselling. Good for her. I took a sip of my martini. I'm getting help too. It's called Success, under my own name. Your column in Industry Weekly, Mom started, has over 1 million reads, Jackson cut in, and 3 major publishers bidding for book rights. Mum's face fell. A book? You're writing a book about this? About finding your voice, I corrected. About stopping people from stealing it. We're family, Mum whispered. No, I stood up. We're relatives. There's a difference. My phone lit up with another news alert. University officially revokes degree in wake of plagiarism scandal. I showed it to Mom. Looks like Vanessa's interview didn't save her degree after all. How can you be so cold? Mom demanded. Cold? Gillian laughed. She's being generous. She could have pressed charges. She still might, Jackson added, if the restitution payments stop. Mum turned to leave, then paused. Vanessa's starting over, a small social media job. Maybe you could help her, just a little? I nearly choked on my drink. Are you serious? She's learned her lesson. No, I said firmly. She learned there are consequences. There's a difference. After Mom left, Caden moved closer. You okay? Better than okay. I pulled up my email, showing them the latest message. Just got invited to keynote next month's Marketing Innovation Summit. Topic, Authenticity in the Digital Age. Perfect. Gillian raised her glass. To authenticity. To consequences, Jackson added. To finally being seen, Caden said softly. I looked around at my real support system, the people who saw me, not what they could take from me. To writing my own story, I said, raising my glass, and making sure everyone knows who the real author is. My phone buzzed one last time, another text from Vanessa. I really am sorry. I deleted it without responding. Some stories don't need a reply to reach their end. The applause thundered through the convention centre as I stepped off the keynote stage. My presentation on reclaiming your voice had struck a nerve. Dozens of hands had shot up during the Q&A, each person sharing their own story of being silenced or overshadowed. That was incredible, Jackson said, meeting me backstage. The part about documenting everything, pure gold. Speaking of documentation, Gillian appeared, waving her phone. You're trending, again. I glanced at the hashtag. Authenticity wins. Ms. Athena. A young woman approached, clutching a notebook. Your story. It gave me courage. I've been letting my boss take credit for my designs and I needed to hear this. Document everything, I told her, squeezing her hand, and never let anyone dim your light. My phone buzzed. A news notification about Vanessa. I ignored it, but Gillian read it anyway. "Former rising star accepts entry-level position at small agency," she quoted. "Guess she's actually working for once. Ms. Athena," another voice, the conference organizer, "there's someone insisting on seeing you. We've kept her in the lobby, but—" "Mom," I said, not even needing to guess. "Want backup," Jackson offered. "No." I straightened my jacket. "I've got this." Mom stood by the registration desk, clutching her purse like a shield. She looked smaller somehow, less intimidating. "That was quite a speech," she said as I approached. "You watched?" "From the back." She shifted uncomfortably. I didn't know you were such a good speaker." "There's a lot you don't know about me, Mom. I'm learning that." She pulled something from her purse, an old photo. "Remember this?" It was me at my college graduation, beaming with pride. Before Vanessa started college, before the endless helping, before everything went wrong. "Why are you here?" I asked. "I sold the house," she said quietly, "to pay Vanessa's legal fees and restitution. That's not my problem." "I know." She handed me an envelope. "This is your portion of the sale. What I should have given you years ago instead of giving everything to Vanessa?" "Yes," her voice cracked. I failed you, both as a mother and as a person who should have seen your light." Before I could respond, Caden appeared. "Everything okay here?" he asked, protective as always. "Fine," I said. "Mom was just leaving." "Actually," Mom pulled out another envelope, "I have something else. Your old diaries, the ones with all your original designs and ideas. I thought maybe you'd want them for your book." I took the envelope, feeling its weight, the weight of dreams I'd had before I became Vanessa's ghost. "Thank you," I said simply. "I'll go now." She turned, then stopped. "You were amazing up there. You've always been amazing. I just forgot to notice." After she left, Caden touched my arm. "You okay?" "Better than okay." I opened the envelope with the diaries, finding a loose note inside. "What's that?" Gillian asked, joining us. "A letter from Mom." I read it silently, then laughed. "What's funny?" Jackson asked. "She's moving, taking a job as a receptionist, starting over at 60. I showed them the note. Says she's inspired by my speech about authenticity. Speaking of inspiration, Jackson pulled out his tablet. "Wait until you see the offers coming in. Seems everyone wants the real Athena now." My phone buzzed, a message from the young woman from earlier. "Just showed my boss my portfolio of work he claimed. He's offering me a promotion to keep quiet. Should I take it?" I smiled and typed back. "Never settle for silence. Your voice is worth more." "Ready for the networking reception?" Gillian asked. Actually," I looked at Caden, "I think I'm ready for dinner. Just us." "Like a date?" he asked. "Like a fresh start?" As we left, I passed the conference wall where they'd posted quotes from the keynote. Mine stood out in bold letters. "Your story is too valuable to let someone else tell it." "You know what the best revenge is?" Gillian called after us. "What's that?" "Living authentically," she grinned. "And maybe a best-selling book about toxic family dynamics." I laughed, feeling lighter than I had in years. The diaries in my bag held my past, but my future, that was finally, completely my own story to tell. "Ready?" Caden asked, holding out his hand. I took it, stepping into the evening light. Behind us, I could hear people still quoting my speech, sharing their own stories of reclaiming their power. "Ready," I said. Because this time, the story wasn't about Vanessa, or Mom, or even revenge. It was about me, the real me, and I was just getting started.